Hey guys, it's Bellamy here from Midnight Suns and welcome to my review of the closed beta of Marvel Rivals. So as a disclaimer, I'm a huge fan of Marvel, as you can probably tell from my username. I love the Midnight Suns, Ghost Rider and all of them. So this review might be a little biased because I absolutely loved playing the Queen of Limbo Magic in this game. And yeah, this game is a ton of fun. This is the 6v6 experience exactly like how I remember Overwatch 1 to be. And what I mean by that is the games are always so chaotic and messy with the 2 extra players, the 1 extra player on each team basically, so 2 extra players in the match. And those 2 extra players all spamming their skills, everything, all their cooldowns, it really adds a lot of visual clutter to the game, especially with the destructible elements. So yeah, with the AoE team wiping outs and everyone just spamming their skills the entire game, it is really extremely visually cluttered. But oh my gosh, this game is still extremely fun. So if you're somebody who has only ever played Overwatch 2 and you've never played Overwatch 1 and you are wondering what Overwatch 1 felt like, I would say play Marvel Rivals and you'll get a very close experience to what Overwatch 1 was. Now of course there are some differences from Overwatch which I will get into later, like not everything is better but there are a lot of good quality of life changes I think. And yeah, I will dive into that a bit later, but right now I just want to talk about my experience playing this game on its own. So I played Marvel Rivals the closed beta for about 20 hours for the 2 weeks that it was on, completed the whole battle pass to unlock all the exclusive stuff, and I also spent quite a number of hours in Quickplay just to get some time on as many heroes as possible. And I also played comp for a while just to quickly climb to gold and get the exclusive Venom and Adam Warlock spray. And throughout my entire 20 plus hours playing this game, I did not experience any stutter, any lag at all while playing. So I know some people have been complaining that their games are lagging and I'm not sure why that is, but I will say this game is very graphics intensive. So I have a high mid-range desktop gaming PC with a 3070 graphics card that I got 4 years ago in 2020. And when I run this game Marvel Rivals, I can always hear my PC's fans running at full speed. So I can tell the game is really pushing the boundaries of what my 4-year-old PC can handle. But like I said earlier, I haven't experienced any graphical slowdowns or lag at all in my over 20 hours of playing the game. And I think it's very odd that like some people who have much higher end gaming PCs than me are complaining about graphical lag in this game because I really haven't experienced any of that at all. And as you can see from all the footage I captured for this review, the gameplay is silky smooth and there are absolutely zero hiccups. Now I've heard some people say that this game has a lot of problems with OBS, so if you try to stream this game there are a lot of issues. So I don't know about that because I haven't streamed this game, I only record my footage while playing the game. But just from my personal experience, everything feels really polished. I have zero problems with any graphical errors. But okay, now let me talk about how this game is similar and different from Overwatch. So this is a third-person shooter, whereas Overwatch is a first-person shooter. That's the most obvious difference. I also think this game is a lot more casual than Overwatch. It just doesn't feel as competitive as Overwatch just from the nature of being a third-person shooter instead of a first-person shooter. But that doesn't make it any less fun, and there are also some good quality of life changes from Overwatch. And let me quickly go through some of the more significant changes I can think of, and you guys can let me know what you think about these changes in the comments. So one big change I noticed is that in this game, you have maps where you push the payload, basically it's the same as Overwatch, but in this game, Marvel Rivals, the payload moves on its own as long as the enemy team isn't on it. So you know how in Overwatch you always have to have one person sitting on the payload just to move it while the rest of your team pushes forward and holds the enemy team back? Well, in this game, you don't need to do that. The payload will move on its own. You don't have to escort the payload actually. As long as the enemy team isn't standing near the payload will keep moving on its own. And I actually quite enjoy this because at least you don't have one player who isn't playing the game and just sitting on the payload. Like everyone on your team can be grouped together at all times and really fighting the enemy team. And yeah, this is one quality of life change that I really like. Another big difference between this game and Overwatch is this game really focuses on synergies. So when you group certain heroes together, they get certain bonuses. Like if you group Rocket Raccoon with Groot, you kind of combine your health pools because Groot gets additional health when you jump on him. And this actually allows you to be a frontlining support, something that you cannot do in Overwatch. Like as much as people think that Brick is a frontlining support, she really isn't, and this is coming from a top 500 Brick player. But in this game, we have an actual frontlining support with Rocket Raccoon. As long as you have a Groot on your team, you can really just jump on him and just frontline the entire game. And I think that's very unique, being able to turn around and heal your team while you're on the front line. That's a very, very unique experience that I haven't found in any other game. So for those people who hate playing supports because you're just on the backline the whole time, play Marvel Rivals and make sure you play Rocket Raccoon and you can actually be a frontlining support. Another big difference from Overwatch is in this game, when you play control maps, your outcharge carries over from round to round, just like how it was in early Overwatch before they changed it. And I actually quite like this because I think it gives an additional layer of strategy. Like if you know your team is losing that round, you can actually save your outs for the first team fight in the next round. Or if you are winning, then you can keep your out to snowball the fight in the next round. This is how it was in the early days of Overwatch 1 and I do quite miss it. But I guess I can understand why the developers of Overwatch removed this, because this can really lead to some snowballing situations. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it comes down to your personal preference. Another huge change from Overwatch, which I really love about this game, is that there are no snipers. That's right, there's no Hanzo, there's no Widowmaker. No one can just one-shot you in this game unless you're using an ult. So if you're playing support, you don't have to just hide behind cover the whole time if your enemy has a really good sniper like in Overwatch. Over here, you can really just fight in the open and not just die instantly. And as a support player, I really love that. And there are also no DPS heroes in this game that has perma-invis like Sombra. The closest thing you have is Loki, who can go invisible using one of his skills, but it's on a cooldown, and he's a support hero, so he's not usually gonna be going around the enemy backline the whole time and just killing their supports like Sombra does. And another thing I really like about this game is that there are no support heroes with auto-aim, always online healing turrets like Illari. The only support in this game with a turret is Loki, where he basically makes 2 stationary clone copies of himself using his skills. But his turrets, which are his clones, actually require manual aiming. So his clones will only shoot at the same target that you are shooting at with your primary fire. So it's not like Illari's Pylon in Overwatch, where you can just throw it at some off-angle hidden spot that the enemy cannot destroy. In this game, Loki's clones actually require him to aim manually with his primary fire. So there's much more skill involved and it doesn't feel so unfair like Illari's Pylon. And another thing I really like about this game is the matchmaking. So in comp, I reach like the top 5% of players and I can still get into games within seconds of queuing. This isn't like Overwatch where I'm a top 500 support and I can queue for an hour just to get into a game in the Asian servers. By the end of the closed beta, I was in the top few percent of all the players in the entire game. Like they'll actually tell you like once you rank up, they'll say like, oh, you're in the top 3% of all players in the game. So yeah, I was ranked really high and yet I was still getting games within seconds of queuing in both competitive and quick play. Oh, and the ranking is also way more strict in this game. Like in this game, if you reach a platinum rank, you're already in the top 500. It's not like Overwatch 2 where you need to be in high masters or low GM. So yeah, the way I think about it is you take your Overwatch comp rank and you minus 2 ranks from it. So if like you're a masters in Overwatch, then you're probably a plat in this game. If you're a diamond, then you're probably a gold here. So yeah, I feel the ranking is really way more strict in this game. Oh, and another point about the matchmaking. In Quickplay, you are actually not punished for being good at the game in Marvel Rivals. The same cannot be said for Overwatch. Let me explain. So in Overwatch 2, if you play Quickplay right now and you are a very high ranked player, let's say you are a GM player, what the game will do is if they cannot find a lobby filled with enough GM players, they'll put you in a game where like your entire team are all plat teammates and then you're fighting against a full team of diamond and master players. And that just feels so awful. It feels like the game punishes you by giving you worse teammates the higher rank you get when you're playing quick play. It's not like comp where they try to make sure everyone's around the same rank, and that's why I feel in Overwatch 2, the quick play matchmaking really punishes you for being good at the game, because the higher rank you are, the worse teammates you get, just to balance against the enemy team because there aren't enough players at your rank playing quick play at least. And sometimes I have no choice but to play quick play in Overwatch 2 because I want to play support and I don't want to just sit around with the 1 hour queue times all the time. But yeah, you don't have any of those problems in Marvel Rivals at all. In Marvel Rivals, if you are really good at the game, you'll just win most of your games. There's no forced 50-50% win rate. Or at least that's how it feels at the moment. But I've played quick play for at least 10 hours and I won a good 70-80% of my games. If this was Overwatch 2, I'd still be losing 40-50% of my games no matter how good I am. So yeah, I really like that this game rewards players for being good. Now of course, if you're a player who isn't that good, then you might not be very happy with having players way stronger than you in your lobbies all the time and just destroying your games. But honestly, I think it's quick play, it doesn't really matter. As long as that doesn't happen in comp, I think it's fine. I just don't want to be queuing for quick play games for like 20 minutes like in Overwatch 2. And I would say the balancing in this game is balanced in a way that everything is unbalanced. So how do I explain this? It's like everything feels overpowered. Like every hero feels like they have their own moments in the game where they can pop off and like do team wipes. At least for the tanks and DPS heroes. Like whether it's heroes with extreme mobility like Spider-Man, or crazy hit scan damage like Punisher, or being able to mass resurrect your entire team with Adam Warlock. Every hero feels like they have their own moments during a match where they feel overpowered, and that's just really fun. Now of course over a long period of time that might be a problem, but as of right now, with just 20 plus hours in the game, I had a lot of fun playing it. And to be clear, I've been a top 500 support in Overwatch and Overwatch 2 multiple times. But I've never been a top 500 DPS player. Like, I used to be a one-trick top in Overwatch 1 and the highest I ever got to was Masters. And I usually only play projectile heroes, so my mechanical skill when it comes to aiming with hit scan heroes really isn't on a top 500 level. But even then, I've had games in Marvel Rivals where I'm just using Punisher and wiping out the entire team with a hit scan hero. And I'm somebody who isn't good at playing hit scan heroes. So yeah, it really just feels like every hero, especially the DPS heroes in this game, can have those big moments where you just feel overpowered and destroy all of your enemies. Like, you know how great it feels in Overwatch when you play Genji and you Dragon Blade and you wipe out the entire enemy team? Well, in this game, every DPS hero has that ability. It really feels like if you are playing a DPS hero in this game, you have a lot of agency over the outcome of the match. And that's just fantastic for people who really want to feel like they're in control of what they're doing. And that is one of the best parts of this game. Now, if you play Overwatch, the heroes will feel very familiar to you. Let me just list off some quick examples. Rocket Raccoon's primary fire is basically Moira's healing orb, except it travels 10 times faster, so you can actually heal people from long ranges effectively, which is awesome. If they ever rework Moira in Overwatch 2, I think they need to look at Rocket Raccoon in Marvel Rivals. As for Magneto, he is a tank, and he is basically like Sigma and Zarya if they fuse together. And he has both an absorbing shield and bubbles, like he can bubble himself and his teammates as well, just like Zarya. And my favorite DPS hero, Magic. Like her sword swings are like Genji's Dragon Blade. It's like if Genji had a permanent Dragon Blade with less damage. Like the closest comparison I can think of would be like DPS Doomfist from Overwatch 1, because all the damage she does generates bonus shield health for herself. As for Punisher, he's basically Soldier 76 and Bastion if they had a baby. He even has a non-mobile turret form like original Bastion in Overwatch 1. And yeah, he's really the Soldier 76 Call of Duty generic shooter hero of the game. And yeah, those are just some examples of how the heroes will feel very familiar to Overwatch players. If you're someone like me who's been playing Overwatch for many years, I think you'll feel right at home with Marvel Rivals. And yeah, overall I had a ton of fun in the closed beta, and I would rate the closed beta a 9 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic game, it feels extremely polished. I experienced zero lag, zero graphical problems, and most importantly, the game was extremely fun. When the full game releases in a few months, I'm definitely gonna be playing it again. And as long as they can keep the queue time short, I'm definitely gonna be spending a lot of time in this game. Now I still love Overwatch, I'm still gonna play Overwatch, but I will gladly play Marvel Rivals as well once the full game comes out. And that's all for this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are an Overwatch player and you've also played the Marvel Rivals closed beta, please go down to the comments below and let me know what you think about the game. And if you want to see more of my game reviews or you want to see more of my Overwatch content and future Marvel Rivals content, please do consider subscribing and hit that notification bell to keep up to date with everything going on here. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and as always, stay gold, and most importantly, never fade.